should boast. So we have to be centered on Him in order for Him to begin to shape us. But it goes on to say that we are His workmanship. We are created in Christ Jesus unto good works. He's made you for a task He has planned for you. He will equip you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make several pieces that look similar, but I've got a plan and a purpose for each one, just like God has a plan and a purpose for each one of you. I think it's always dangerous or risky to speak to a group that just ate lunch or dinner. So I'll be watching if you start to nod off. I have some hammer up here that will make you wake up. So the first thing the potter do is center the clay. Everybody say centered again? Center. It's pretty relaxing just watching this. It's really hard not to fall asleep. The next thing that has to do is the clay has to yield itself to me. Somebody tell me what you think yield means. What do you think yield means? What? Give up? Anybody else? Say that again. Surrender. Anybody else? Okay, so the signs used to say yield right of way. It's like you give up your right to go. When the clay yields itself to me, I can shape it in any fashion or purpose. When we yield ourselves to God, when we're centered on Him, we yield ourselves to Him, He can begin to fashion or shape you into a vessel that He has planned for you. So His plan is perfect. It's also practical and has a purpose. I started out in college and my major was classical piano. I'm making pots. How'd that happen? I took a clay class and that was just sort of it. It was sort of this divine providence that God was shaping me because He had a plan. Look close to the same. I haven't forgotten, although I'm getting more forgetful. I met a man just a couple of days ago, and he said, I'm at the point in my life that I can hide my own Easter eggs. That's a joke. Well, you guys are asleep. So what's the first thing the potter has to do? Center. Then we have to yield. Now I'll give you a little bit of a story about myself. Well, watch this. So if we're like clay, can clay shape itself? No. So we could just sit here and watch it. But you all agree that the clay can't shape itself? I was kind of like that person. I'm the self-made man type thing. I was a Christian, centered on Christ. I was going to church and doing those things and pretending I was this spiritual person, you might say, that I could shape myself. So if we let this piece go, it's been centered, it's been started to shape, what do you suppose is going to happen? You can talk back to me. We'll just watch it for a while. So in my life, I wanted to do this mock-up, it's called. It's a sculpture of a sculpture, you might say, a presentation for a large commission. And didn't really have any money, so I began to be very spiritual, praying, God, if you want me to make this piece, a guy's going to help me with it. Could you have him call me tomorrow at 11 o'clock? I began to pray that, and so just to make sure that God knew what I meant, I called the man and I said, hey, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, can you call me? I wanted to shape my own. I wanted to be the potter in my life. So if we watch this piece, it's centered, it's on the wheel, yet eventually what's going to happen? watching? Oh. So it didn't take too long. So if you're like me, I'm good, I'm fine. I got this. I got this. I'm good. So eventually, you kind of look like, oh, I can get it out of there. Oh, man. So, do you think this is the plan the potter had? And for me, sometimes it takes a little while. I don't know how many times you guys are disobedient in your life. You're probably at the point that you're always obedient, you're always respectful. Like, I haven't got there yet. So, if this is not the plan the potter has, do you remember the story? I read it pretty quickly, but it said the pot was marred in the hand of the potter. But what did he do? Did he throw it away? No, he made it again as he best to him. I was kind of like this pot. Going along, deciding that I'm going to shape myself. I'm going to make my own destiny. We began to pray about this piece I wanted to make, and I went ahead and made this nice little clay figure worth about 8 to 12 hours on it. And it was all shaped. And decided to take it and show it to my friends. Went to a cottage prayer meeting. We were getting ready for a revival at our church. And being as spiritual like I was, I went over there and actually took the clay piece to show them. They were all impressed. And on the way home, I'm driving, and I said, you know, God, this guy doesn't seem quite right. How would you have me change it? And it was at that exact moment I got hit head on by a drunk driver. Went into the windshield, blood and all that sort of thing, all spare. But I grabbed a bandana and wrapped it around my head so I could see, because I couldn't see. And I picked up the little man, and the man was all twisted and shaped like this. I said, okay, I get it. I understand. You are the one that's going to shape me. Now, let me tell you something. Had I go on like this, I was working in a space about 8 by 10 on the back porch of our farmhouse. But see, God had a plan and a purpose for me, and it was greater than I could even think. So he made it again. Some of us think that maybe God has this pressure. We all have a free will, and he gives us that opportunity to make those decisions. Sometimes those decisions aren't exactly along with his will. Now I'm going to remake this piece. That looks sort of like it. So I used to think, I don't want to do God's will. I don't want to go to Africa or somewhere like that. He wants to use you where you're at. Use you at your school, use you in your place where you work. He wants to use your talents and gifts he's equipped you with. Now I want you to look. I'm going to take just my little finger and show you just how easy it is to shape the piece. We're just like clay. Clay doesn't like friction. It doesn't like to be pushed. It likes to be guided. God wants to guide you where he can shape you into that vessel he has planned. Just a small bit of manipulation of this piece that can change it completely. So you may have this thought of what you want to be and what you want to do. So which would you rather be? What the potter had planned, or go your own way? I'll give you that as a little example right there. So in my own life, God remade me. He told me, I've got a plan and a purpose for you. I'll give you a quick story of my studio. When we were young married, we just had a baby. My wife is over there with me tonight, and we thought we were exactly where God wanted us to be. I'd worked at an art center. We lived at a camp where I took care of the camp. We had a home. But the art center really didn't pay very much. So we get to use our savings up. My wife just quit work because we felt like God was telling her to stay home with our children. And we used our savings up. We had no money. On Thursday, I got a call. And the art center said, we've hired this person to help you out with your classes. So we need your studio here 2 weeks. And there's a long story with that. It's quite flabbergasting, you might say. The next day, the camp called and said, this is just not working out. You have 2 weeks. In 2 days, we lost our place to live and our place to work, and we had no money, and we had a new baby. No place to live. So we began to pray, God, you gave me these talents and gifts, but I will do whatever you want me to do. And one of my students had said, hey, go down to the Paseo. They've got some places down there, you might look around. So I drove around for 2 or 3 days, and 2 or 3 went in and walked around for about 30 minutes and went into an office they told me about. And the man said, well, we don't have anything, but there's a man who just called me yesterday and said he bought us a building that would be perfect for a clay studio. Now, this clay studio was a big old laundry, cleaners, great floors, great giant gas lines and giant drain lines, perfect for a clay studio. And we met the next day. Tried to call him on the phone, but he didn't show up, or he didn't answer the phone, and he came to the office that was there while I was standing. And I started thinking, okay, but what is this, what you're trying to show me? And the man said, let's meet up and I'll show you the building. Show the building, perfect, of course. He said, let's talk about the rent. And I'm saying, okay, God, we have no money. But you see, that's not a problem for him. He said, we need to talk about the rent. I know you need to get started, so let's say the first 3 months, no rent. And what does it take to build a state-of-the-art kiln? I've never met this man before, but God's providence was that he had to line these things up to prepare me for what he had planned in my life. What does it take to build a state-of-the-art kiln? I gave him a figure and he said, I'll pay for half of that. I never met this person before. It's not because of luck or coincidence. It's because I said, okay, Lord, I yield myself to you. I'm clay in your hands. Make me what you want me to be. Now, I stick it right here. We go into the darkest room. What happens to the darkness? Just what? So, if we hold it down low, what's best? We hold it up high. We hold it up high and the darkness goes away. It doesn't take much light. You don't have to have grandeurs and beat people over the head. It doesn't take much light.